Welcome back to Archean, episode 23 of season 1 playthrough. Alright, the first half of this video is going to be coding. The second half will be tracking down some gold on land. If you do not want spoilers of the exact lat-long coordinate of a nice gold spot on land, then once the vehicle starts moving halfway through, just go ahead and jump out of the video. I'll also remind you again when I start moving that if you don't want a spoiler to quit at that point. But the first half is just code stuff. As I mentioned in the previous video, I forgot to save the previous scan direction, which I added in line 56. The other thing I decided to do, instead of having the delta be constant, so for example, if the distance delta was 10, it'd go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. I decided just to add a little fudge to it, so it's going to be the delta plus I, then multiply by the count. So it'll do like, instead of going from 0 to 100, it goes from 0 to 200. So it expands the distance out a little bit. The closer to the vehicle is a little more tighter, and then it loosens up as it gets out. So I was trying to increase range without going ahead and adding too many channels. Sorry, I'm changing this logic. So I need, in this case, I'm hard coding for now that this is above sea level. Fine. I probably should have a toggle switch if I want to find stuff. Maybe I don't care, or land only. I guess you could have sea only too. So I'm going to try to not hard code too much, and I'm going to put some of this stuff up here in the configuration as far as what I'm scanning for, the minimum percentage, things like that up in here, so it's a little easier to change the values. Now, it is possible to build a really nice UI on top of all this, and be able to select the ore and potentially give you do multi-ore scans. So instead of looking for one thing, you can look for multiple things at one time, etc., etc., etc. But that would take quite a bit of coding, and I could spend many hours just kind of mucking around with that and testing it and whatnot. And so I'm trying to keep the progress going forward. So we'll do the simple stuff. We'll just go ahead and make constants in it. We'll just change it. I mean, for the most part, I'm not really changing my mind on what element I'm looking for. I'm looking for gold. I'm looking for gold, or looking for tungsten or titanium or whatever it may be. I'm looking for that, and not really anything else, at least currently. So we'll put some of the stuff there. So now in line 54, I can say, when I look at the ore composition, which is the key value pair, I just use the constant value instead of having AU buried there. So in here, I'm just going to go ahead and convert percentage into a number, or in percent. Now, if that ore is not present, then that value will be empty. If you convert an empty value to a number, it'll convert it to a 0. So basically, effectively, if it does not exist, it'll be 0%. Now I can put the conditional if the percentage is greater than or equal to the minimum that I define in the configuration. So effectively, you can set it really low, and if you get a lot of noise or you're getting some good high hits, a bunch of low hits, you can just change that to kind of filter out the low hits from the list there. So now that we have, we found something that meets the minimum percentage of percentage, and then it's above ground. The problem is sorting out, all the various hits. And so what I'm doing is creating a weight for each ore I find. And the weight is basically the lower the value, lower the weight, the more valuable it is. So basically, in a standard sort order, if we take everything and sort it, the lower weights will be higher than the higher weights. And so the way I figured this out is, okay, we'll start with percentage. Now, percentage we invert because we want low is good. So if it's 100%, then 100 minus 100 is 0. That's a low value, obviously, and that brings the item up to the top. If it's like 0% to 100, and we'll lower it down in the list. And then I just add the distance. So I take the percentage, invert the percentage times 10, and add the distance. So effectively, 1% of ore is worth 10 meters of distance to travel. So it's like worth traveling 100 meters for an extra 10%, for example. Now, you could change the factor. I hard code it here. You could change that to, instead of 10 there, you could increase the factor so it's more important or less important as you wish. Now, the reason why I format the weight is because I want to sort this, and I don't want some weight values having like 1 digit, or other ones having 6 digits or 5 digits or whatever, and try to sort it. So I pad them all out to 0, just so they all have the same length, and so they'll sort correctly. And because I'm putting all this in a key value pair, and effectively the sort is a string sort, so it doesn't understand the field. It's just going to sort it by the string value. So that's what ore found is. Ore found is effectively a key value pair, and then I'll just add weight, element, percent. In line 54, which I just added for direction, I didn't want to have the previous scan direction down in this lower code. I want to add a level of abstraction, so I'll just put distance here, and just put distance above and below, just to make it more consistent at this point. And so basically, we're just tossing everything. Think of this as like a mini class or structure by using the key value pairs. All right, so now we have all that. We need to throw this in a list. Now we'll keep like the top N number. I think I use 8, the top 8 hits. So put this in, so ore location will be a string array. And we add the ore found to that. Now we want to sort it, because we don't know if it's good or bad. So we'll sort it sort it. And I got to define locations. I'll put that as a global variable somewhere up here. A good place to put it. So I thought, how many did we track? So we'll have. I mean, I can put quite a few on the screen, but at some point it becomes, just a lot of noise. So we'll track the last 8, and we'll have this as an array of text, not string, and this will track the last, n number of, or weighted, the last n weighted ore locations. So now we're getting part of the coding. That this coding is not really specific to the game itself. It's just general algorithms. And implementing those within the context of the actual programming language we're using here. Okay, so we sort it. Now we want to remove, if we're over this, the size is greater than this count, we want to remove the stuff at the bottom. Fortunately, there's a function called pop, which removes the last element. So this will, if we're over the limit, remove the last ones. And since we sort, the useful ones are at the top, the ones we don't care about as much are at the bottom. Now I could use if in this condition, so I should never be more than over 1, but I decided just to use while, just to make it a little more robust. So the next problem is that when we get a good hit and we start moving around, well, as we move and time goes on, that hit becomes less useful. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a weight. I'm going to increment the weight per tick. So basically, as time goes on, the entry becomes less and less useful. Now, this code does not understand the vehicle's moving or standing still, all that. And I know other implementations have logic built in that if something, they'll treat the data differently if the vehicle or the scanner is moving or not moving. So if it's not moving, effectively, once you make a full pass, you can just kind of stop and save power. If you are moving, then it tends to refresh things more often. This code currently does not have that level of intelligence. And so we're just going to take the weight value out of, go through each or location, pull the weight out. We're going to add some value to it, and then we're going to put it back. And then the next time we add something to the list, we'll sort it again, and then anything old will sooner or later fall out. And of course, if we get the same hit again, we'll just add that, re-add that to the list with its original weight, and so it'll be at the top. So I decided not to use trying to stop hard coding so much. I call it TTL. TTL stands for time to live. It's a WinSock type, networking type term. I couldn't think of anything else at the moment of some abbreviation that would sort of make sense. So TTL is a general term, and I figured it's basically what this is well, it's not really. It's sort of time to live. Time to live would be at some point it just removes automatically based on time. I could say like after n number of ticks, remove it, but if the vehicle is not moving, that's not the right solution either way. So I did something simple here. And so now I got to put the weight back. I tried this. This doesn't work. They don't support this level of thing. You can't, when you index, you can't take the value, key value pair of an item to index through. So I'll just break that up. And I want to format again, since I've taken it out, I'm going to replace it. I want to place it back the same format. And then want to put it back in the original list. So basically replacing the item that was already there. Okay, so that means old items will slowly phase out. Now the next problem is I need to present these on the screen somehow. Staring at my code thinking how I'm going to do this. I mean, it's simple for each to enumerate all the items in it, and we'll just, write down the screen. So we'll do a simple for each. We'll have our index, which is 0 through number to n-1, and then we have the actual item itself. And then we'll do a screen write. We'll do it on the right half, so we'll use our nice hard-coded value. And then we want to take the height of a character. Now there's a typo there. We'll find that in a minute. and multiply that by I. So we'll kind of get it down a little further. And then we want to put it in black color so we can see it, and text. I wonder if green or something else would be more visible on that transparent background. Possibly. So I want to know what I want to know. I know what percent, what direction to go, and how far is it. And we'll just stick the formatting in here. We'll keep it kind of, we don't want to overflow it too much. We'll just kind of keep it somewhat short and neat. If I looked it up, I could probably find the right character for the degree symbol and just add that to the. Okay, and then the last one, meters, so it should be obvious which one is direction. And okay, now the problem is I know there's no gold. All right, so. You don't have to leave yet if you don't want a spoiler. We're going to change this to iron so we can work out the bugs. All you know right now, there's no gold right around the base. So I figured I'll just make it iron. And now that bug came up, invalid operate. So the compiler didn't find this. It only found it during I guess that makes sense. So, you know, the bug is char H is really a property of the $screen object, but somehow I'm able to use it standalone like this. And thus we find it at runtime, not compile time. So I'm confused. I'm thinking that, you know, is it back here somewhere? I go, why is this not working? And then I realize, oh, that's what I did. And then plus screen. Oh, and I got extra. Okay, so now it's display. Okay, so we now rendering the iron that's close by. And I'm thinking that the weight might be too aggressive. That's why it kind of. I think things are weighting off too much, or I need to give high percentage a heavier weight, so it doesn't rotate like this. Have to adjust. It's like adjusting a pit in a way. You got to get factor up. So I'll change it so it doesn't time out. That'll give more weight to the. Yeah, there we are. Now, one thing I notice, there we are, zipping around, is, okay, these are all unique. So there's a whole batch at that direction. So if I go in that general direction, I find a whole bunch of iron. I'm looking for iron. So that's working out pretty well. And I could speed up the rate of the scanner so it spins faster, so it'll respond more quickly. And I think what's happening, the weights are incrementing, and then when the weights they switch over to a new set every time they happen. Let's do tungsten. See, oh, there's some there. Cool. All right. So it's a big 32%. So if I need a lot of that, I go in that direction. And this is all, of course, I'm only picking up stuff above sea level. So this is all easy ground stuff. And it's not that far away. Now you see the repeats, how the first two lines, second two line, and the other two lines, they're all just repeats of the same location. Because what happened, I find the two locations, and then the weight increases, and then I add more entries. So I'm adding duplicates over and over. What I need to figure out is a unique location for those. And you know, if you're not moving, that's one solution. If you are moving, it's a different problem. And so for now, I'm just going to deal with it. I'm not going to worry about it for now. I mean, I know go, you know, basically they're all the same entries effectively. I know what direction to go. All right. At this point, if you do not want spoilers of where the gold's at, quit now. Okay? Because I want to start mucking with these parameters, we're going to start finding it. So quit now. All right, you're off. So spoiler, the gold location on shore. We're going to find that, I think it's 16%. We're going to find. Yeah, one thing about the power turns, if I try to like back up and turn, it handles definitely, with power turns, it definitely behaves differently. I'm not 100% sure if I like it or not, or just have to get used to it. Okay, so all the spoiler people got off. So the gold is that way. And it's about 1,000, 1,200 meters that way, or 2,000 meters that way. But it's that way, and it's over a couple of ridges, but it's before you hit the water. So you keep going this way, and then it's about 500 meters or so before you hit the water. So we got a little ways to go. Now, what I don't know is exactly where how high it is in that area and what's the good spot and things like that. Now, and for all I know, there's other spots further away that have really good gold too. But this is what I found within, a couple thousand meters at my location. So. And we do not have any anti-flip or anti-tilt or anti-wheelie logic on this vehicle. So I'm gonna muck with the setting. I said I should be finding gold now. So I'm gonna kind of play around the scanning, make it a little more aggressive. Let's scan some more increments. Let's increase the delta between scans. Yeah, we're still not finding it. So I'm going to go and now this could be all made into switches and dynamics. There's actually some thought about how I can do it more dynamically. So in other words, if you start scanning, okay, here's some gold, 16% gold. So yeah, and I already moved a little bit, so that makes it what, about 2,400 meters from the base, from my base location. So it's 23 degrees, 16%. And we want to go that way. And we found some 11%. Now we're only looking for above 10%. So the logic setup, so we could be finding, 5%, 4%, 3% all over the place right now. But those are filtered out. Because we go to all the trouble of mining the gold, you might as well find something that's different. I think what we're seeing repeats again. Those two 16%, I think they're the same ones. As we get closer, we're moving around a little bit. So, well, this is working out reasonably well. It's updating. I could make it spin faster, but I think it's fast enough because we physically can't move that quickly. And we know about the direction. So, the 16 is 21 degrees, so about that way. And yeah. So it's a little over here, and you see the meters are going down, so we're in the right direction. I'm going to clear this next little hill here. Yeah, the other thing I was thinking about is that, I really probably shouldn't even bother putting a mining drill on the vehicle. It's like in this case, I might as well just set up a little mining base and leave it and let it crunch with a beacon on it and come back and, check on it later. Because if I use the drill on the vehicle, then I have to sort of like park there, for an hour while it drills. And that doesn't make for exciting video. Okay, so I'm getting closer, so I'm going to tighten up these parameters a little bit. And so it fell off again because I'm tightening it a little too much. But we'll get close. Oh, there we are. We picked it up. All right, so yeah, that's... so we're almost there. Yeah, I think I actually go past it. I think I have the delta is a little too big right now, so it's too... I need to shorten that up a little bit. What I thought about doing is if it finding hits close by, to automatically tighten up some of those parameters. Because like if I'm finding stuff with say within 200 meters, then I can have the deltas down to 10 automatically. And if I'm I'm finding things further out, then I increase the delta. So there's certain these parameters I think I can make dynamic and be smarter about how they move around a little bit, make it easier to track things down. I even thought about like putting them in groups. Like here's the top ones that are over a certain percentage. This is one over that percentage. I think, yeah, that's too big. That should automatically change. That would make things a lot easier. Okay, so we know it's a little over there. I think I went past it because I was by this little hill before. Okay, now shortening. So if you go too fast, you gotta get that scanner. The scanner's going too slow for the speed of the vehicle. Then the problem. So the scanner was going faster. That would make right on top of it now. It's going crazy. It's everywhere. And we get off. The brakes kick in, and we'll just double check. Now, something else I could do is I could read, and we got 16% gold right under the drill. And for those who want to see where it's at, there's the lat long coordinates of the gold right there. So you put those lat longs and track that down, you can find the 16% gold without a scanner. All right, so that's the end of this episode. Until next time, see ya.